Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, Daniel chapter 12. If you'd like me to speak at your church or if you have any questions, you can email me at godsohman@gmail.com or you can comment below. So if you remember, I said before that Daniel 10, 11, and 12 is all one big vision. And Daniel 12 is the ending of the vision, and the Bible ends at Daniel 12. Now, of course, the Catholic Bible, they have two extra chapters, 13 and 14. 13 covers something about thieves at this church, and so they sprinkle powder down to check out their footsteps, and 14 is going to cover a dragon that Daniel actually conquers. And if you guys like me to cover the Catholic version, 13 and 14, let me know. Maybe I'll do something in the question and answer, and I'll make a video about 13 and 14. But anyways, this is Daniel 12. We're going to go ahead and cover this one. It's the last chapter in the book of Daniel. So Daniel 12 verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth in the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never since there was a nation, even to the same time and to that time, that people shall be found delivered, every one that should be found written in the book. So there's a lot of stuff going on right here in this very first verse. Apparently Michael is the archangel for the people of Israel. It says that Michael standing up for thy people. And so I take that as to say that every different nation around the world probably has an archangel looking after them. And then it says there's going to be a time of trouble, such as never was a nation. And what that's saying is that, yes, this happened in Daniel's time, but it's also future. It's also end time. So I'm going to cover that. And then it mentions that should be found written in the book. And all throughout the Bible, it talks about the book of life and things like that. We're going to cover that as well. Now, Matthew 24, verse 21, it says that there should be a great tribulation, such as not at the beginning of the world of this time, nor shall it ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved, but at the elect's sake, for those that should be shortened. And this is talking about end times. There's going to be the 70th week of Daniel, which is going to cover a 7-year period. If you look at Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, Jesus' disciples come to him, and in all three verses, they basically say, when is the time coming, and what's going to be the signs? And Jesus answers them throughout the Bible. So in Matthew, in Mark, and Luke, it covers these, what's going to happen, what's the signs. It says here, Jesus describes what will happen before his return. He answers his questions. He says he's coming back after the tribulation, when the sun and the moon go dark. This right here is when the sun and the moon goes dark in Matthew, Mark, and of course Luke. And in the middle of this time is a thing called the abomination of desolation. All three of them talk about the middle of this 3.5-year period, or middle of the 7-year period, at the 3.5-year mark. There's this thing called the abomination of desolation. And at the end, it says, after the tribulation, the sun and the moon will go dark, in all three of these verses. So we know that the rapture is going to happen after the tribulation, when the sun and the moon goes dark. So the actual last 3.5 years is what's actually called the Great Tribulation. First 3.5 years is called the Great Falling Away. It talks about when the saints are being worn out, overcome, to prevail against. The middle is going to be when the Antichrist breaks the treaty, or the abomination of desolation. And the last 3.5 years is called the Great Tribulation. Daniel 7 verse 9. I beheld, and the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garments was white as snow, and whose hairs of his head was like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels of burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered to him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, and the judgment was set, and the books were opened. So this is the time that the books are open. After all this time, the books are going to be opened. If you go to Revelations, it mentions it again. And I beheld, and I heard a voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beasts and the elders. The number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands. 10,000 times 10,000 is 100 million. It's really interesting that it gives an exact number. So 100,000 people are going to be dying for the sake of Christ. If you go to Revelation 20, it says, "And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face on the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works." So with the great white throne judgment, everybody's going to be there. And every single person is going to have to give an account for what they did. Not only are you judged on what you did, but what you didn't do, what you thought of. It's going to be crazy that everything you ever done or thought is going to be read out for the world to see. And I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't think I want everything I ever thought or did be shared with the whole entire world. But guess what? If you're saved and you're a child of Christ, your book's going to be empty because Jesus paid your penalty. So your book's going to be empty. Comment below. Are you guys wanting your business put out there? Are you wanting people to know what you thought, what you did, what you didn't do? It's a sin to also do stuff that God told you to do and you didn't do it. So comment below what you think about this. So the great white throne judgment happens at the end of the day of the Lord, at the end of the 1,000-year reign. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be judged. But the people that follow Christ, the people that are saved, those are going to have an empty book. Daniel 12, verse 2. "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt." So there's going to be two types of people. The people that are saved and get to have everlasting life. And people that aren't saved and they get shame and everlasting contempt, they're going to go to hell. And those who sleep in the dust awake happens twice. First time it happens at the rapture, at the end of the tribulation. Second time it happens at the end of the day of the Lord, at the great white throne judgment, when everybody gets taken up and they get to choose. They basically get put in heaven or hell. Daniel 12, verse 3. "And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever." This is saying that if you actually minister to people and teach people about God, you're going to be like a bright shining star. And that's just amazing to me. What do you guys think about that? Comment below. Would you want to be a bright shining star? Proverbs 11:30 says, "The fruit of the righteousness is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise." Well, if he that winneth souls is wise, what does it say about somebody that does not win souls? I guess that means they're fools. Anyways, back to Daniel 12, verse 4. "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." Now think about this for a second. Daniel really has no idea what he's writing down. And God's telling him, just write the stuff down, close the book. It gets picked up again in Revelations, even to the time of the end. And then it says, "Many shall run to and fro." Now think about this. Up until about 100 years ago, the fastest you could travel is whatever the fastest horse you had, or maybe the fastest boat you had. But now, you could jump on a plane and go to the other side of the world in a couple hours. I mean, imagine, back then compared to back now, the distance you could travel in such a short period of time. And then it said, "knowledge shall be increased." 100 years ago and beyond, you didn't really know what was going on a couple miles down the road. But today, you can pick up your cell phone and you can look up facts. What's the capital of Uzbekistan? What is the time in China right now? You can pick up your phone and instantly have knowledge. Knowledge shall be increased. Well, today, you have a phone or a computer that will give you any kind of knowledge you need. "Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood another two, one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders?" These guys are asking, how long is it going to be until this vision is told about? "And I held the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river. And when he held up his right hand and his left hand into heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. Now the word time, times and a half, time is 1 year, times is 2 years, and a half is a half a year. That would be 3.5 years. Well, if you look here, tribulation is 7 years long, but a time, times and a half would be 3.5 years. That'll start at the abomination of desolation. Then you're going to have 3.5 years, 3.5 years of the great tribulation. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? See, Daniel didn't understand what he was writing down. God said, write it. Daniel was a faithful follower and he wrote the things down, but he didn't really understand. And sometimes we don't understand either. And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end. So don't worry about what you're writing down. It'll all be taken care of in the future. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. You know, all throughout the Bible it says those who have ears hear and those who have eyes can see. You know, my favorite verse is in 2 Peter 3. It says, in the last days there will be scoffers, people scoffing at the Bible. They'll be willingly ignorant of the creation, the flood, and the coming judgment. These people don't want to know what's going to happen, because if they know what's going to happen, they have something they have to look forward to or to be afraid of. It says the wicked shall do wickedly, and they all don't understand, but the wise will understand. And from the time of the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. 1,290 days. That's missing 30 days. And I don't exactly know what this missing 30 days means. I'm assuming this is setting up the 144,000. I don't really know. I guess I'll know one day in the future. But there's missing 30 days, and I kind of wonder what those 30 days are about. It says, blessed be he that waiteth, and cometh to the 1,305 and 30 days. 1,305 and 30 days, so 1,335. But go thou thy way until the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand by lot at the end of the days. So he's saying, Daniel, you're going to be here at the end of days. See, he's going to go to heaven and be with Christ. And when Christ comes back, anybody that's saved is going to be there. We're going to understand what's going on at the end of days. So you're going to get your answer, Daniel, at the end of days. You just have to be waiting and be patient. And we are going to get our answer. I'll get to know about those missing 30 days. You're going to get to know all the questions you have in the world will be found out at the end of days. The question is, do you want to be saved and find out these things? Or do you want to ignore God and you want to go to hell? It's your choice. You get to pick. Well, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can comment below. You can send me an email. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Let me know what you guys think. We did the whole book of Daniel. We're going to be doing something else here very soon. Now, on the right hand of the screen there, on the bottom, I'm going to put the Daniel Bible study. So you can go start in verse 1 all the way up to, start in chapter 1 all the way to chapter 12. The top left is going to have the Exodus Bible study. And the bottom left is going to be a random video YouTube things you're going to like. I appreciate you guys watching it. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you next time.